Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today on the program Healthy Living. I'm Adisuwa Usa Uwagie. Today we're going to look at prevalence of malaria prevalence in Nigeria. Even with everything that government is doing at both federal and state level, yet the scourge is on the high side, and we do not know what to do about this. According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria suffers the world's greatest malaria burden, with approximately 51 million cases and 207,000 deaths annually, and approximately 30% of the total malaria burden in Africa. And they further went to say that 97% of all of this, that is approximately 173 million worldwide, is at risk of the infection. Today we're going to be talking with Dr. Jolly Nosa Iguma, MD Jonos Medical Center here in Benin City. He is here to discuss this topic with us. It's nice to have you with us on the program, Doctor.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, if we go by what is happening or what we read from data that have been made available, we'll discover that Nigeria suffers the world's greatest malaria burden, and we have figures with there. And if we go by what the World Health Organization said as at April 6, 2021, it is said that about 6 countries account for approximately half of all the malaria deaths worldwide, with Nigeria recording 23% of this death rate. The federal government is doing quite a number of activities to make sure that its citizens get safe from malaria. State government are doing stuff to even local government authorities. But surprisingly, it seems that nothing seems to be working to curb the scourge of malaria.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate that in spite of all the measures that have been put in place, both from the government of Nigeria and also from international donors, malaria is still reported as the highest cause of death in Nigeria. With statistics, we can say emphatically that malaria is responsible for the highest morbidity in Nigeria. That's to say that anybody that falls sick, majority is as a result of malaria fever. And also, we can also move forward to say that the major cause of death in Nigeria is malaria fever, because considering the large figure that have been reported, Nigeria, of course, is still an endemic area for malaria. That is to say that with the statistics that is just made available to us, 51 million cases are reported every year.
Every year. And
207 deaths is reported.
207,000.
207,000 deaths. So that is to say that with statistics, 29% of the global record is what we see as cases reported in Nigeria. And 26% of the global death is what we see in Nigeria. So there are factors that are responsible for this, in spite of the international funding and the solutions that the government of the day is trying to put in place. And we'll be looking into it. So over time, in spite of this coronavirus that now came in, we believe that infectious disease is a thing that has been a problem to the developing world. Certainly, of course. But I tell you that before coronavirus, over time, Nigeria has been suffering from malaria fever. And malaria, of course, is a vector-carrying disease.
Of course.
It's everywhere. And the earlier we know that malaria is a killer disease, the better for everyone. It's quite a preventable disease. It's also a treatable disease. When coronavirus came, we all thought that the world was going to come to an end. For the reason be that malaria that we know here kills more than even the coronavirus in Nigeria. That is what statistics has made us to know. But the malaria we have been living with over a long time. But malaria, of course, is preventable, is also treatable. That actually is the convergence or the difference between the malaria fever and the coronavirus. But suffice to say that malaria still remains the highest cause of death in Nigeria. Okay,
if we go by history, we discover that malaria occupies a unique place in the annals of history, going by what WHO, the Malaria World Journal and all of that, and with what we have been seeing. Yet, we seem not to see light at the end of the tunnel with all the measures put in place. One is beginning to wonder, can malaria ever be eradicated from our society?
Yes. We look at it from this perspective.
Because we look at malaria as ordinary.
Ordinary. And it's a killer disease.
Ordinary.
Yes. For malaria to be reported as the highest mortality, as the highest cause of death in Nigeria, it means that it's highly prevalent. But I tell you that in some other countries where we have mosquito and we have malaria, of course, malaria is a vector-carrying disease. We already know what is transmitting it from one person to another, which is the mosquito. And when we are able to remove the vectors, automatically we are curing the disease itself. And
how do we go about that?
Yes, we will look at it in the course of this discussion.
Because we have tried. Yes. Everybody have tried to do this. Yes, but nothing seems to be happening.
I tell you that there are other countries that were once like Nigeria where malaria were very prevalent, but they have been reported as malaria-free region, malaria-free country.
How did they achieve that?
Yes, like in Nigeria in 2019, they were declared malaria-free country by World Health Organization. So even in Morocco in year 2010, they were declared malaria-free region. So we're actually looking at the future, that a time will come where Nigeria will be, declared a malaria-free region. But the question is that, why is malaria so common in Nigeria? There are factors that are responsible for this. So that actually answers your question to say, in spite of the funding from the federal government, from the state government, from the local government, even from international donors, but still, you can see that malaria is still everywhere. So the reason is just because of the geographical location of Nigeria. Any sub-region that is located below 1,500 meters in terms of altitude, malaria is very common in that area because of the presence of mosquito in that environment. Now, looking at the climate, looking at the geographical region of Nigeria, there's high rainfall in that region. These are regions that are below 1,500 meters in terms of altitude. The high rainfall, of course, tends to favor the breeding of mosquito, because mosquito needs water to breed. Not only that, there's high temperature in this region. In some parts of Nigeria, there's high temperature. This high temperature also tend to prolong the lifespan of the mosquito. They tend to live very long. And not only that, the humidity, which is the amount of water vapor in the environment, they also tend to, increase the viability and the well-being of those mosquitoes. They tend to do well in that kind of environment. So you can see that the geographical region is a thing that favors the breeding of mosquito in our environment. And this mosquito is what is responsible of carrying parasites from one person to another. Without mosquito, we cannot be talking about malaria. Not only that, we talk about poverty. Malaria tends to dwell in slum environments. The housing type. You see, some people build houses in areas where you have bushes, you have waterlogged, gutters, improper sewage and waste disposal. All those sites tend to increase and encourage the breeding of mosquito. So you can see that the poverty. The truth of the matter is that the report came that 80 million Nigeria are living in poverty. And the housing type, the kind of environment you stay, will also determine whether you will be infected by this malaria or not. Not only that, illiteracy is also a factor that will be responsible.
So housing,
the health-seeking behavior. We report also has it that 11% of maternal mortality is as a result of malaria. That is to say that 11% of maternal death, that is a woman that is pregnant, they tend to either miscarriage or eventually die during the course of pregnant or trying to deliver because of malaria that will cause fever and complicate the pregnancy, thereby leading to death. So not only that, of these 207,000 deaths that have been reported in Nigeria caused by malaria, I tell you that children less than 5 years are affected most. That is 1 to 5 years, because the immunity in those children are very low. So because of that, when they are affected by malaria, the complications tend to even, kill them or affect them more as compared to adults who have acquired immunity over time. So you can see that when women are educated, when they know the property to do that, when my child is sick, my child is having fever, instead of just, asking their neighbor to say, what drug did you use for that your son, that your daughter that day? Please do it, give me, let me give to my son, let me give to my daughter. So the health-seeking behavior is very important. When your child falls sick, what kind of, treatment would you like to give to your child? Would you go and mix concoction and be giving to your child, or you take your child to the nearest hospital, health facility?
What about areas where you don't have hospital, particularly in the rural areas, where we don't have good roads, we don't have good health facilities? How is somebody who is down with malaria in that area, particularly children, how would they survive?
Yes, we cannot actually say that areas where there is no, we can be talking about distance, maybe the accessibility. That might be the problem. Hardly before you see any local government in any way where there is no government presence in terms of hospital siting, as the case may be.
We have a radio program, Rush Hour, and quite a number of persons have called into that program to say that their healthcare facilities in the locality is quite very funny, because when you go there, where the health facilities are available, you go there, you find only a nurse. Sometimes you don't find doctors there. Other times you go there, they do not have drugs as common as PCM. They have to go very far. We've had instances like that. How can areas like that combat malaria? Well,
it's unfortunate. You can see all those factors you have just highlighted about doctors not available in the health center, health centers not having proper medication, health center not having facilities to cater for those who are to come.
No personnel, no facilities. Some health centers have been built but not furnished.
Yes, all these actually will also increase the mortality of the malaria, as the case may be. You can see that something that is just curable not kill very easily.
Does that mean we cannot fight this battle?
Certainly we can, and we are looking for that better Nigeria to come. What I'm trying to say here is that the health-seeking behavior of the mother is very important. Training the woman, when the woman is educated, of course, she will know the best time to take the child to a hospital.
Even when the woman is educated, seeking good health behavior, like you said, is a huge problem.
Yes, that is the standard goal. That is the standard goal.
Nobody wants to go to the hospital. We'll all rely on, I beg, what drug did you give your pikin that day? Let me give my pikin. It's always like that.
Yes. There is a need for one to actually know the cause of fever. Because maybe in due course we'll look at the symptom, that how do we actually know that this child has malaria? Certainly the commonest symptom that somebody might even manifest as, fever, as a malaria is fever. And this fever could also be shared by other disease conditions. In other words, other than those symptoms manifestation, there are some drugs that have been phased out that are no longer used for the treatment of malaria. You can see that some persons still use quinine for the treatment of malaria. And most malaria parasites are now resistant to
drugs,
to some medication. So health-seeking behavior, very important. So what I'm trying to say is that putting all those things in place, like the no availability of doctors, the no availability of hospital medication to cater for the health needs of the people. All this tends to actually increase the burden of malaria deaths in Nigeria, other than the geographical setting and the poverty, as the case may be. It's like a triad. It moves. So when we're able to solve this problem, it's part of our location.
How do we solve the problem?
Yes.
That is the huge question.
Yes.
How do we solve this problem so that at least, in the nearest future, Nigeria can also be declared, just as once upon a time, Nigeria was declared a polio-free country. If we can declare Nigeria a malaria-free country, that would be wonderful, because malaria has been with us from pre-colonial to post-colonial
to this present era. The truth of the matter is that I believe the best way to go is to fight corruption. But I tell you that in those hospitals that somebody called in, that no doctors, even the nurses that are there, they have no medication, they are just sitting down there. But I tell you that somewhere they will tell you that they supplied drugs there a few days ago. So you can see corruption.
So how are the drugs disappearing?
That is the problem. That is corruption. So when we are able to fight corruption to a standstill, many things will come to place.
Perhaps that's why most people don't like going to medical centers, health center. If you go there, you won't find drugs, particularly in the rural areas.
Yes.
And these are the people who live where you have stagnant water most of the time.
Yes.
The houses are not so convenient, as you have said. And, they use streams, they use rivers and all of that. These are the people that are at risk.
Certainly. In urban area, you have choice. You can decide to go to primary, secondary or tertiary health centers. People that are affected most are those in the rural area. Even if there is an health center in their environment, in their geographical location, if they try to access it, the doctors might not be available. Even if the doctors are available, the reagent or the facility that will be used to cater for those that are brought in that are sick might not be available. You can see that the whole thing is a shambles.
While I was discussing this with a colleague of mine backstage, something really came to mind, and he said, can you imagine? COVID-19 came, and within a year, we have vaccines. Now, malaria that has been with us for, like, forever, there is still no vaccine for that. Even though we know that vaccine is... the research is ongoing.
Yes,
they are making a clinical trial and all of that. One would be forced to ask this question: why is there no vaccine yet?
Yes, if you look at the coronavirus, it was more or less like a public health global disease or a problem.
So malaria is an African thing. It's
endemic to some region. But however, it's not that malaria as a disease has also not been reported in the Western world.
Okay.
Some persons who came here, they also had a bite of a mosquito and they went over there and suffered malaria. But the truth of the matter is that our geographical region, where Nigeria as a country is located, the kind of malaria species that we have, there are particular ones, the very virulent one, the very dangerous one, that tend to do well here. So but whereas in other regions, there are some species of malaria that are not too virulent.
That means there are types of malaria.
Yes, exactly. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that the reason why there was, everybody collaborated to ensure that a vaccine came, early for tackling or battling coronavirus is that it was a globalized thing. That's what we call a pandemic. But as compared to an endemic disease, something that is just restricted, it's just like the Lassa fever. In Asia, in some part of Asia, in some part of America, they might not even know what is Lassa fever. But over here, we know that Lassa fever kills, and Lassa fever is very dangerous. But over there, there might not be research, like that. So even if there are going to be a research for malaria, they are just helping Africa to initiate this process as a way of reducing the mortality in Africa. But coronavirus was a globalized thing. So that is why the vaccine came out on time. That is not to say that even as we speak now, researches are not going on to finding a lasting solution for cure of malaria.
Where is this research being done? Is it Nigeria or somewhere in Africa or outside Africa? Because a lot of persons are beginning to ask, don't we have researchers, scientists in Nigeria anymore? Don't we have scientists in Africa anymore that can do this? Others have said, yes, we have, but they do not have enabling environment. They do not have the resources. There are no tools to do all of that. They still have to like go outside the African sub-region to other countries to find a solution to our own problems. Isn't that huge?
We have to consider the fact that in anything that you are doing that has to do with research, funding is very important. Some of the funding have to be...
We have research institutes,
We have research institutes here.
Okay.
So most funding will come from international support. So it's not that we don't have researchers here. There are people that are capable in doing those things. What if the diagnostic aids are not available? Materials required to carry out those processes as a way of finding a very potent vaccine. And you don't just go into the lab and create a vaccine. It must pass through a clinical trial. Animals have to be tested. Humans have to be tried so that the side effects will be known, so that we will now know whether these drugs will be effective for human. The sensitivity, the validity, and other things have to be put in place before we now say, okay, we have, gotten a vaccine. Definitely, there's no way we don't need international support, considering the fact that we live in a poverty environment. And I tell you that some of those diagnostic tools that are required for the processing of this vaccine or producing this vaccine, we also need international support to get it there.
It's taking too long.
Exactly. Most of those equipment that we need to, do the process.
Perhaps if we have seen malaria as a problem in Africa, in Nigeria, if we have seen it as a real problem, maybe we would have had a couple of vaccines by now.
Certainly.
That means we are not taking this malaria serious.
Certainly.
That's what it means.
And if I'm to go by what you are saying, that we can emphatically say that if malaria was to be affecting the Western world as it is killing Nigerians, by now we would have gotten a vaccine. So with that, one can be able to say that we need international support to be able to combat malaria. Even as we have been able to fight this malaria to this extent, there have been international donors from the World Health Organization through the rollback malaria program, through the global strategy for malaria. Strategies have been put in place. The mosquito...
These strategies, would you say that they were effective? Did the people who are supposed to benefit from all of this, did they really get it? Did the world get the attention that this rollback malaria thing desired or deserved?
Yes. Just recently, you see that insecticide-treated nets were given out freely to people. That's
the nets that we saw at Ring Road, Mission Road, Akpakpava. People were hawking those nets on Akpakpava, Mission Road. I saw for myself. So it's not as if somebody told me.
Exactly.
Yes.
You see, the truth of the matter is...
That's why I asked that question.
If we must eliminate malaria from Nigeria, we should be able to fight poverty to a standstill. I tell you that not every fund that is put for the eradication of malaria as a disease actually goes in there or goes to the right hand. Some of them, before it gets to the source, it's already siphoned. Even the one that come from international donor. But be that as it may, we can say that efforts that have been put in place so far have been able to reduce the spread of this malaria that is being caused by mosquitoes.
Are you convinced by what you just said?
Yes.
Are you really convinced?
The insecticide-treated net, some person got it. Even though it now ended up in the hand of commercial distributors that want to make money from it.
Yes.
Not only that, I tell you that.
How did they even get to their hands? That's one question nobody seems to have an answer to. How did they get this net? You could not, they were not even, I was thinking that security agencies and all of that would be on the street at that time to apprehend these people. But unfortunately, we didn't hear anything of sort.
And I will tell you that
scot-free.
Even those persons who will even sell it, what they are selling to you is written there, not for sale.
But
nobody comes after them because of the kind of country that we have. So you can see that to be able to fight malaria to a standstill is going to be a collaborative effort. The government have to play their role. We, as an individual, we have our role to play because we already know the agents that tend to carry these parasites from one person to another.
Let me just make this brief announcement. You will come and tell us the roles that everybody needs to play. You will spell it out for us this afternoon on the program. All right, it's about time you started making your calls now. The number is 052-290-573. 052-290-573. We're talking about tackling malaria prevalence in Nigeria. Call in to ask questions or to contribute on how you think malaria can be tackled in our society. If you live in an area where you do not have health facilities or the health facilities are not functional, this is an opportunity for you to call in to say so. You may just get government attention. You never can tell, because if you do not report what is happening in your area, how can you get help? How can you get help? How do we fight this scourge of malaria? People are dying in their numbers, and some persons don't even think that it is necessary for them to go to the hospital. Some will look at the bottleneck they experience at hospitals, particularly in government hospitals, the hope of the common man. And because of that, they will not want to go seek medical help. Others will run from one pharmaceutical shop to one chemist to even quacks. To quacks. And at the end of the day, you lose your little money, you lose your life. What do you gain? Let me use our street language. What do you gain? So give us a call on 052-290-573. and talk to us about how we can do this, or ask questions that are bothering you on malaria. Dr. Jolly Nosai Guma is here to answer all of those questions. 052-290-573. And when you're calling, reduce the audio level on your television set. Don't allow us to keep making that announcement, Just by yourself with your, with your own mind, reduce the audio level or move away completely from where your television set is. And then you can call us, okay? 052-290-573. The number is on your screen. Use it, call us, and let's talk like Nigerians that have the love of Nigeria in our hearts. All right, doctor, you are going to spell out our roles, the role of government. Is government doing enough?
Yes, like the sharing and giving out of the insecticide-treated nets, the federal government, state government, and the local government have a role to play. But you get to understand that the local government is the closest government to the people. So even if the fund or the money have to come from the federal government, trickle down to the state government, let everything go to the local government. People in their various local governments have to, if possible, go to their council area or go to designated area where those insecticide-treated nets are displayed and given out freely. Mosquito is what actually spread this malaria. We already identify the mosquito,
as a special mosquito, yes.
Therefore, if you live in an area where you have mosquitoes, because of the siting of your house, maybe you have bushes around, you have drains everywhere in the gutter, you have
stagnant water,
exactly, around, or because of the high temperature, humidity, and high rainfall in your geographical region, there's a need for you to sleep under insecticide-treated nets. especially children and pregnant women. Because when we are talking about complications, pregnant women and children are the ones that suffer below 5 years, exactly, 1 to 5 years. These are the ones that will get complications, that will get severe malaria, whose kidney will be affected as a result of the malaria fever. So sleeping under the saturated net is a way of giving yourself a coverage so that you will not have the bite of this mosquito.
Okay, let's quickly pick this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Please tell us your name and ask your question. Tell us your name, where you're coming from, and ask your question.
Daddy John.
Okay, go ahead with your question, please.
Okay, Daddy John from Benin.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. This question is direct to the doctor. Why malaria is very difficult to treat in Nigeria? Because sometimes ago, 1991, my friend went to Japan. Every week, they always have malaria before he left Nigeria to Japan. But when he got to Japan, they were treated and been free and free from malaria. He came back after 5 years. He never had malaria or fever for that good 5 years. Why is it so difficult in this country? What is the reason behind it? That no man, no doctor can prescribe a good drug that will be able to take care of malaria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. You got all John said.
Yes. What he was trying to say is comparing Nigeria with Japan. Now, when he was in Japan, he was
a friend of his, when he was in Nigeria, was always having malaria. But when he got to Japan, you know, for 5 years that he stayed there, there was nothing like that.
Yes. Now
they now ask the question, why is it difficult to treat malaria in Nigeria?
You see, we have to put what we call concomitant infection in place. That you have treated malaria this week does not mean that you will not have malaria next month. Because the vector that transmits this infection is still very much around us. If you had a mosquito bite that will now carry an infected sporozoid into your blood, and this sporozoid now find its way into the liver from the bloodstream, thereby multiplying into hypnozoids, which are later released in the form of merozoids into the bloodstream, the person begin to suffer symptoms of malaria, like malaise, feeling unwell, feeling feverish, chills and rigor, having headache. So what am I trying to say? There is no immunity in totality that you have treated malaria this month, thereby when you are bitten by mosquito next month you will not also suffer malaria.
Because the agent is still very much available.
But in Japan,
how do we get rid of that?
Exactly.
You
see, in some other countries, there is what we call area spray. What it means is that helicopter will spray insecticide around bushes, around stagnant water, as a way of decimating or killing those mosquitoes that transmit those infections. But over here, it's not too common, other than the free ITN, saturated nets that are given to people as a way of protecting them against mosquito bites. So the truth of the matter is that other countries have tried to put drastic measures in place to cut down and eliminating mosquito in entirety. If we're able to remove mosquito, Anopheles female mosquito, if we're able to remove them, because not actually all species of mosquito
but this particular Anopheles female mosquito.
The male actually feeds on flower nectars. Okay. But the Anopheles part, the Anopheles in particular, is the one that transmits those infections. So you can see that different the geographical region. For as much as you are in an endemic area like Nigeria, where you have the mosquitoes around, you are about to suffer malaria.
Okay. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. 0522905573. The number is right there on your screen. Do give us a call.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name, please? Hello? Okay, we missed that call. I'm sure a lot of persons are trying to call in. All right, Doc, you just told us the role government should play.
Yes.
And do you think that role is enough just to distribute mosquito nets? Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Please tell us your name.
I would like, I'm Chioma calling from the Apostolic.
All right, Chioma, go ahead.
I want to ask, is it good to treat malaria that is every 3 months when it comes to children?
If it's good to treat malaria every 3 months when it comes to children, is that child always coming down with malaria every 3 months or what?
No, just to prevent the malaria from attacking them now.
Oh, okay. Doctor, see question.
Okay, we have to understand the treatment strategy. We cannot treat malaria when we have not done a diagnosis for confirmation.
Okay.
Either we use the microscopic test, either the thin or the thick film, or the rapid diagnostic test. There are strips that are available that you just dip inside your blood with color change. You know whether your feverish condition is caused by malaria, parasite, as the case may be. So, having done that, you will now know whether to treat it completely. But what the lady is trying to say, I believe she is talking about chemoprophylaxis. For as much as you live in malaria endemic area, that you always come down with, malaria fever, there's a way you can always prevent yourself. That is the individual basis I was trying to talk about. Okay. That the government has a role to play. But I will use the opportunity to talk about the individual role. One of the roles an individual must play to ensure that high mortality caused by malaria is the use of chemoprophylaxis. What it means is that knowing the kind of environment you live, that you have mosquitoes around, instead of waiting to come down with it. Instead of waiting to get malaria before you go into treat, you can take what we call the sulfadozine pyrimethamine combination. Those days we used to have Sunday medicine as a way of, as a way of preventing. So even though you have a mosquito bite, that will help to reduce the multiplication of that parasite in your blood. Because it's when those merozoites are released from the liver that the mosquito has put into your bloodstream. It's when they are now released in thousands and millions. That is when you begin to manifest those symptoms. So when you take those chemoprophylaxis, which is the SP, sulfadozine pyrimethamine combination, it tends to reduce them. So you hardly come down with the symptom. So it becomes like a preventive measure. Not only that, other than the government strategy of providing insecticide nets, there's still a need for this area spray, as I was explaining. And sensitization and campaign
is important.
It's very important. No little wonder, even 21st of April has been set aside as World Malaria Day. Just to let the people know that malaria is not caused by witches and wizards. Malaria is caused by a vector, it's caused by a mosquito. Thereby, you can prevent malaria on your own, ensuring that you clear bushes in your environment. This one now comes down to the people, the role the people have to play. Clear bushes around your house. Because those bushes tend to be the ideal places. They need water to breathe. But the bushes around, even the flower in your environment, if you don't spray those flowers or you maintain those flowers, you may be surprised that those flowers will not become like an eating site. An eating site for those mosquitoes. They are nocturnal animals. What it means is that it is at night they have to fly out to go and look for food to eat. Just like the way humans that move around freely at daytime to look for something for their means of livelihood. So also mosquitoes at night, they become very active. They are looking for human blood to suck for their survival. So when you know that you have bushes in your environment, ensure that you clear away those bushes. If you know you have stagnant waters in gutters, drainage system around your area. You see some houses, they leave even their water storage tank open. Those water storage tank can become a breeding site for mosquito. Even some fences, you see some persons using bottle that can trap water as a way of securing their fences.
All
those water can become a breeding site for mosquito. And at night, those mosquitoes fly into your houses, your rooms, and start sucking blood. There's a need for you to also like shield or cover your windows, if possible your doors, with nets as a way of preventing them. Because considering the temperate environment that we live, you see that sometimes at night, everywhere is very hot. So persons leave their windows open, they leave their doors open. It's part of the security challenges. But then, even as you are considering security challenges, armed robbers or kidnappers or whoever coming in, know that there's another one that can also come in, which is the mosquito that can cause malaria, that is still capable of causing death.
Okay, let's quickly do this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, I think we lost that call. So give us a call. The number is right there on your screen. Let us know what is happening in your area. Ask any question you want to ask on this topic. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Benjamin Mafidon, speaking from the Yozo Beach.
Okay, Benjamin Mafidon, go ahead, please.
Yeah. That doctor, where you the doctor so, I don't remember his name.
Dr. Jolly.
He mentioned one word. He said there's an alternative for this malaria cure. Then you answered him that he should tell us the alternative. Now, I'm expecting that alternative from that doctor now. But to my own alternatives, madam, can the federal government not fit to help the poor and the rich? Make the display Nigeria at least once in a year to kill all this mosquito from the bush or even the environment that near us? Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you, Mafidon. We got that. So he said while we were talking, you talked about alternative to curing malaria. And then he's also asking if the federal government cannot do something at least once in a year to, you know, kill these mosquitoes.
The truth is, governments on their own hands are trying as much as possible. They might not be doing enough to eliminating or as decimating malaria from Nigeria.
Okay.
But one thing is, we have to consider our large population and persons also living in poverty. Ignorance, poverty, illiteracy is a triad. Those things as a triad tend to even increase the burden of fighting malaria in Nigeria. The government too, through World Health Organization, have also ensured that all malaria medication, all anti-malaria medication contain ACT, artemisinic combination therapy. We used to have chloroquine and other tablets which we use for
which have been phased out now.
But now those ones have been phased out. But I tell you that those drugs are still very much in the market. So persons still take those drugs for treatment. But now the only drugs that have been recommended for the treatment of malaria, and governments have also tried to subsidize the rate of those drugs. You can also see the role of government. Those drugs also have been subsidized.
Yes.
The artemisinic combination therapy, which are either artemether and lumefantrine or imodiaquine and lumefantrine, those drugs are a combination.
Okay.
So monotherapy are no more essential for the treatment of malaria.
All right, doctor.
Instead, we now use combination therapy.
Yeah.
And those drugs are very much on sale in the market in different trade names. Yes, in different trade name. Of course, in different trade name.
Okay.
Governments have tried to subsidize them. And those drugs are very effective for the treatment of malaria as compared to other ones that are monotherapy or that are no longer effective for the treatment.
Okay, don't forget that according to Malaria World Journal, as at April 13 this year, Nigeria accounts for 56% of malaria cases in West African sub-region. All right, doctor, we have talked so much about malaria. You have told us what the government should do and what individuals should do too to tackle malaria prevalence in our society. We're hoping and praying that this will work. But in, say, a minute or so, do you think that we're going to win this battle if all hands are put on deck with international donor and all of that is coming into the country, government's efforts at curbing this menace?
Yes, like as I said earlier on, some countries even in sub-Saharan Africa have been declared malaria-free environment, like Morocco, like Algeria. But Nigeria and Congo are two countries in Africa that are contributing the highest number of mortality caused by malaria. But let's hope with the rollback malaria program, with the global strategy for malaria initiative, that
an individual efforts.
Yes, by 2030, we should be able to defeat malaria to a standstill. And hopefully, Nigeria will be declared malaria-free.
Okay, we're looking forward to that day, and it will be a great one. All right, I know that a lot of persons are trying to call. Do call this number after the program, 08034721750. 08034721750. If you call that number, you will be able to discuss further with us on this topic. I want to say thank you to everyone that called in and those who couldn't even reach us. All right, you would be able to reach us again next time. Thank you very much, Dr. Jolly Nosai-Guma, for finding time to be with us on the program Healthy Living. Monday is another day for another topic. Until then, please be safe, clean your environment, and those of you who are adamant to using your face mask or nose shield as the case may be, remember, Koro never go. The poster is everywhere in Benin City. Bye-bye.